Hugh Hewitt, thank you for joining me on this, the 24th day of June, 2020, in the year of the plague. The number one story, coronavirus cases are accelerating across the U.S., according to the Wall Street Journal, the Financial Times, the New York Times. The Financial Times headline is U.S. states put on brakes on reopenings as new COVID-19 cases hit record. I'm not quite sure that's true, as I understand it from East Coast to West. Governors and mayors are not shutting down. They can't afford to shut down. They've recognized the fiscal disaster that is the shutdown. They're asking people to self-care, meaning if you are older and you have an underlying condition, please don't go out. Please limit your contact with people who've been out and about. If you're younger, you don't have to worry for yourself. You may get it. It is almost certainly going to be a very mild case. You might also get in a car crash. But it's like Ezekiel Elliott, the running back for the Dallas Cowboys, formerly with the Ohio State Buckeyes, was commenting yesterday. He has the virus. He can't work out yet. He's been under the weather for a couple of weeks, but he said it's not that bad. You just feel miserable. It's like the flu. Look, it's not good for anyone to get it, but getting it is going to be inevitable until we get a vaccine. Luckily, the mortality is down, and we just got to keep focusing on the fact that fewer people are dying. There's still plenty of hospital capacity across the United States. The flatten the curve thing worked, but you should be wearing a mask in public. You should be. It is going everywhere. It's going to come to your family. If you're the one who gave it to grandma, it's on your head. You probably won't know it's you because it's an invisible germ. But it is, and many people don't even know they have it. We're not certain about asymptomatic transmission yet, but just be smart. We're not shutting the country down again. Not happening. I don't know whether or not markets had a bad day yesterday. Let me bring you the market report brought to you by Birch Gold. Birch Gold, by the way, gold is today at 1770. I hate to rub people's noses in it, but I told you to diversify your portfolio last year, and I've been doing it every day since for Birch Gold. You go to hughgold.com for your information on how to do that or to buy gold. You can text my name, Hugh, to 474747. But Birch Gold will help you diversify your retirement funds, put 10, 20. Some people put 30% into precious metals. I don't. But it's a little bit of a ballast against all the ups and downs of everything else you own, whether it's bonds and stocks or cash, real estate or interest in various businesses. Precious metals typically retain their value even when everything else plummets. And then they make, during times of inflation, solid investments. I think inflation is coming eventually to this country. We can't print $12 trillion of assets and put them on the Fed's books and not have inflation. But yesterday, markets were down across the board. The Dow was down 710. The NASDAQ was down 222. And the S&P was down 80. Overnight, Japan went down another 1.22%, or I should say Japan really begins the day. It didn't go down another. It began the day. In England, there's barely no change. In Germany, it's up 0.5%. I expect America to have a good day yesterday, because, the people took the panic yesterday. They got a little panic selling. They took some profits off the table. Amazon, let me check Amazon. That's the proxy for the tech stock. Yeah, it lost $30 yesterday, giving up 30 of the $50 it gained the day before. Wouldn't be surprised to see it retrace that today. Again, offline, off-store shopping, online shopping is zooming. And not just for Amazon, but for Costco, Target, et cetera. That's one of the ways that you limit how much skin you have exposed. That was John D. Rockefeller's advice to his son. Limit the skin that's exposed. He wasn't talking about sunblock. He was talking about how do you make yourself less vulnerable to attacks by the public. How do you make your portfolio less vulnerable to attacks by the virus? You invest in stocks that do well during the virus. One of those is Amazon, or you buy gold. And gold and precious metals are invulnerable to the virus. As people panic, they don't. So go to hughgold.com. I expect the coronavirus stories will keep coming at you. The key thing is limit your close contact with strangers. That's it. Limit your close contact with strangers. Don't go to big crowds. Don't go to bars. Don't go to jammed in concerts. That's a thing of the past. But you can go to church if you sit 5 feet apart from each other. You can go to an outdoor restaurant if the tables are 3 feet apart and the servers have got gloves on. You can do all that kind of stuff. We're not shutting down the economy again. We can't afford it. We can't afford the destruction of people's lives. That's one story. The other major story of the day, and it is the story I want to spend the most time on, is General Flynn has been exonerated. He did not lie. He pled to a lie in order to save his son and to say he was out of money. General Flynn has his reputation back, but he doesn't have 3 years of his life back. To this very day, he could be the National Security Advisor. We would have had no Mueller probe if Andrew McCabe, James Comey, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and probably the president and the vice president hadn't lied. And that's President Obama, not President Trump. And it's Vice President Biden, not Vice President Pence. Notes that are purportedly written by Peter Strzok on conversations between Sally Yates and the president, the vice president, and Comey indicate they knew about the conversations that General Flynn had with the Soviet ambassador, Kislyak, and they didn't care. They did not care. There's nothing extraordinary about them. But Comey appointed, what Comey ought to have done is he didn't like Trump. He should have told him the truth. You're under investigation by Mr. Strzok here, by Mrs. Page, and by a whole bunch of people. And if they find something, they're coming out, but I quit. I can't work for you, instead of trying to entrap him. He should have quit on day one. And General Flynn would still be in the job. They entrapped Flynn. Flynn got justice yesterday. Donald Trump talked about it yesterday. Cut number 3 in the Rose Garden. No, excuse me. Cut number 2 in the Rose Garden.
Happy about General Flynn. He was treated horribly. He was treated very, very horribly by a group of very bad people. And I think you'll see things are going to start to come out. But what happened to General Flynn should never happen again in our country. He was persecuted, and many other people were persecuted. They spied on a campaign, and they should never spy on a campaign, to put it mildly. It never happened before in the history of our country. The Obama administration spied on a campaign. This is just the first one. He's been exonerated, and I want to congratulate him. He's been through a lot. He's been through a lot. He had great courage, great fortitude, but they spied on a campaign. There's never been anything like that happen. If that were the other way around, people would be in jail for 50 years already.
They spied on the campaign. Absolutely true. Christopher Wray, the current FBI director, was on Fox News with Brett Baer last night. Here is what he had to say, cut number 10.
Decisions about producing documents in a criminal prosecution are typically handled by the prosecutors. I will say that, of course, the Flynn investigation, which took place before I started, and then by the time I started was in the hands of the special counsel's office, is something that has, in my view, raised serious concerns and questions, which is why I ordered an after-action review by our inspection division to take a look at whether or not the FBI's policies and procedures need to be changed, and if there are any current employees left who may bear any responsibility for misconduct.
Why is Donald Trump the only one to speak the truth clearly about this? The Obama administration, through James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and others, spied on the Trump campaign. Then they sabotaged the Trump transition. Then they sabotaged the first 2.5 years of the Trump administration. All on a trumped-up charge, all because of Comey, who was a bad guy. He's a bad guy, if you will understand that. And Joe Biden knew. That's the whole thing you need to know, is Joe Biden knew. Joe Biden's in the basement because he doesn't want to have a press conference where people ask him about these handwritten notes that show he's in the meeting when they talk about this. Joe Biden knew it all. Joe Biden knew about the spying. He knew about the plan. He knew that Comey was a rotten guy. Joe Biden knew. And you ought to know that too. 1-800-520-1234. Do you get how significant this is? Joe Biden knew. And he wants to be your president so he can use the FBI again as a plaything to get you if you oppose him. Stay tuned. It's the Hugh Hewitt Show.